What up, family? It's your boy Amaru back. And real quick, I just want to mention that I have seen a lot of different shows decide not to go on in these times. And for me, this is my coping mechanism. This is how I cope. So I am hoping that me being able to share my coping mechanism with everybody else, other people to cope, because I don't believe that being angry and finding joy are mutually exclusive. So I'm here today. My panelists are here today, and I hope y'all are here today to just have some fun. And that, of course, as always, Black Lives Matter. But let's get into it. What up, family? It's your boy Amadou back, and we are here with another episode of One Gotta Stay. We are here to talk about four very, very, very legendary television shows. Got four that just probably has changed the landscape of everything ever since they came out. Personally, I know another couple of panelists on here believe Oz should be up there, which is a travesty that not many people watch Oz. But I'm gonna leave that conversation for another day, and I'm gonna introduce everybody. I'm gonna go around the horn with our two brand new panelists, and I'm gonna start over here with the assassin himself, Mr. Antonio Chavez. How you doing, sir?
I'm all right. I'm exhausted, but I'm definitely happy to be part of this because I know it's gonna be a very interesting show. So happy to get it started, man. I'm glad that you let me come on here too. So.
Of course, been waiting for that. And then over on the other side of him, another new panelist, my boy out here in Charlotte, just a good man all around, Mr. KB, Kyle Burnett. KB, how you doing, sir?
Hey man, thank you very much for even allowing me to be on this awesome show, man. I'm very grateful, man.
Appreciate it. I'm glad to hear. I'm gonna be looking forward to hearing what you got to say. And then under him, he's back again, my man out in Ohio, Brian. Excellence, Mr. Carson. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, Ru. We're just trying to live in this crazy time right now, and like you said, we have some fun, and we're here to bring some joy to people's lives. And talking about three, and notice I said three of the greatest shows of time. So it's why I don't do this.
All right. And then next to him, this man, ever since he's been on, has had something to say every single week, whether or not he's on or not. I'm hoping he's not too frozen, but hopefully he can hear us. Let's hear him out. Caleb, you're back finally. How you doing if you're not frozen?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, it's great to be back. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. What's up?
All right, cool. And then last but not least for now, is my man at the bottom. He was here last time, and he's back again to talk all the mess. Devon, how you doing?
Feeling good, man. Feeling good. Ready to talk about this. The number one best show of all time, not for one.
I'm really curious to hear
number one.
So before we do this, I do have to mention that I am not going to be a panelist today, and there's a reason. I have not seen two of these shows. I've barely ever seen The Sopranos, and as much as it pains for me to say, I have only seen one season of The Wire. Don't kill me.
Boo.
So I don't feel right talking about these. So I have somebody coming in for me. He's seen these. He's gonna run the show for me. I'm gonna be in the back. So to introduce last, the host for today, as well as the panelists we got.
Hello, everybody. I am your host for today. My name is Aaron J. If you don't have the pleasure of knowing who I am, coming across me in one of the fan leagues, maybe most likely beating me. But still coming across me. Antonio knows what I'm talking about. But glad to be here. I have been a panelist before, and I'm looking forward to being the first ever guest host on this show. So it's historic. Thank you all for being here tonight. Hope everybody's staying safe out there. It's about to be curfew here in about 9 minutes in DC. So hopefully we got no background noise from me. But other than that, I'm ready to talk about, I would say, 4 of the best shows ever. And those 4 being Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, The Wire, and The Sopranos. So I'm hearing some chatter about some people thinking there's only one best show here. Maybe some other people only like other people. But yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing some competitive banter. Not nearly as nice as Amaru, as you all know. So, let's turn it up a little bit here. Get some cathartic energy out, right? We're going to start with Brian's number 4 here. So go ahead and give it to me, Brian.
I don't understand how we even considered it a television show. I wasted 6.5, 7 years, whatever it was, of my life on this garbage. I mean, I don't understand how people enjoy any of this crap, but that ridiculous for television programming known as Game of Thrones. It's out of here. I can't stand that shit. How they just, I'm not tired of investing characters because they were dead in that episode. I mean, what was the point of all the crap that happened? Who was writing this crap? Nothing was a happy ending at all. You thought that, oh my God, I can't. And the other 3 shows, please. I'm out of here. Goodbye.
All right. Well, I caught most of that, and I definitely understand your feelings. Let's go ahead and. Does anybody have that at their number 4?
Yes.
Ooh,
like, so I don't get it. Right. This is only like Game of Thrones is like life, man. Like, what's not to like about it? I mean, the story is sprawling. I mean, you got characters, you've got depth, man. You've got like
your number 4 or not your number 4?
Oh, it's not my number 4. No.
Oh, I was gonna say. I was asking if this is anybody else's number 4.
Oh, no.
I was like, yo, Vaughn sent me up.
I was surprised.
Vaughn sent me up for this like hella twist at the end where he just hammers it.
Oh, no, sorry.
So no one agrees with you, Brian. I'm not surprised here either. I think that it's not always about the destination, the journey, what led you up. There was some moments in this show that you can't really beat. So, yeah, Caleb, do you have any thoughts?
It had moments.
Yeah, you kind of took the words that I was gonna use. It's about the journey, not the destination. It's a great show. Unfortunately had a disappointing finale, but
All right, you're kind of coming out in and out, so maybe just try to drop and come right back in, Caleb, for us. Just because you're just chopping out a little bit. I got most of what you're saying, though. I'm just going to go over to KB for his number 4 now. Go ahead and piss us off now, KB.
So I mean, this is pretty easy. I don't know if anybody else has this. They should. Sopranos got to go.
I am with you. I'm with you there.
Sopranos has got to. I tortured myself, watching bits and pieces of every season. I really don't understand how people really get into this fake bullshit mob. I'm sorry, this fake BS mob.
Let it go.
It's a family show.
Is it a family show? Okay.
It isn't a family show. That's all you want. Go ahead.
I just never really understood why anybody really sat through and watched that show repeatedly and enjoyed it. What's the guy's name with the unibrow? Michael Imperioli.
Imperioli, yeah.
To me, he's the best actor on the thing, and he's probably the only one to help me get through a lot of those episodes. But for the most part, that Sopranos did not with me.
Yeah, Antonio, your thoughts on Sopranos? We're talking about Sopranos. Caleb has the number 4 right now.
Yeah, I also had this as my number 4. I kind of got into it late. I actually did. I'll be honest. I didn't really watch most of it because I wasn't old enough. But I just grew up around it because all my brothers were old enough, and they would always race home Sunday night to watch this with my dad. But even when I watched it, I think I watched like the last 2 seasons. I am gonna watch it eventually because I do want to see what the hype is all about. I did watch the fucking finale, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't see myself really putting it above any of these other shows, despite their flaws.
Yeah,
so that's why I'm like, I gotta admire I got admire Gandolfini, but at the same time, I can't really. I can live the rest of my life knowing that this never existed. So that's
Right.
I gotta say about that.
Yeah.
A bunch of Caleb
Caleb, do you have any thoughts on Sopranos? Still having trouble hearing. Now you're muted.
Yeah, it's great. Boy, this is going so well. Yeah, I enjoyed The Sopranos, but there's not any there's not like a ton of memorable actors you can name from it. And the ending was way more disappointing to me than Game of Thrones. So yeah, it just had to go out first.
That's a hot take. Brian, I'll let you defend your show in 1 second. I'm just gonna explain why it was my number 4 here. I loved all 4 of these shows on here. So hearing all this hate about The Sopranos here, it's pretty hard to hear. But it's definitely the most inconsistent from start to finish of any of these shows. It just like I really like shows that go for it. The coma stuff with Tony, I'm like, yo, man, like cut this shit out, Dave. I think he was running the wire as he was finishing this stuff or whatever, but like it was inconsistent. And I love the finale. So I just want to say that the finale I adore. I think they knocked it out of the park with what they did, Fade to Black at the end. So I love the finale. And not to give away too much, but fuck the Game of Thrones finale. Yeah, Brian, any last words for your fallen soldier here at number 4, Sopranos?
I mean, I'm going to kind of give you an inside peek. Growing up in an Italian family, let me say they got the acting spot on. I mean, I could name you a Carmela, a Janice, AJ, a Tony, a Paulie, a Sil in my family. So I'm just saying from what I've experienced in life, let me tell you, all those actors deserve Oscars and Emmys and Golden Globes because they played their roles to perfection. Yeah, it had a couple of clunker episodes, like that time when Tony just basically dreamed the entire episode. It was horrible. I love the guest spots they had on. I did like a lot of the character development in a lot of them. And if you're gonna want me to watch an entire season of the show from start to finish, I'm gonna pick Sopranos. No way in hell am I picking Game of Thrones. I mean, for God's sakes. And then the other two, I love the other two, but I mean, if you're asking me, I'm going Sopranos.
Okay, I love. Go ahead, John.
Oh, sorry. So I just have one thing to add about The Sopranos. It's basically the R-rated version of Boy Meets World. I mean, it's a snooze fest, man. Like if you watch one mafia movie, you've seen them all.
Oh,
good point.
I'm not here to agree with Vaughn on that. It's almost making me wish I moved it up in my list now, but I got to stick with my list here. Alicia, you said that started the path, not to get off on a tangent here, but the show that started that path was Odd. So if we're going to talk about the show that started
the path, she from Jersey. Is that why she's biased?
Yeah, really. But anyway, I'm not here to argue with the comments. I'm in
Jersey, and I still don't like it.
I don't like this.
Here we are. We're going to go through and recap round 1 or 4 picks here. And we all pretty much agreed, except for Brian. With our 4 picks. So Brian had Game of Thrones as his 4 pick. So now we are going to move on to our number 3. We're starting with the assassin up in the corner, Mr. Antonio. Lay it on me.
All right. So obviously it's going to be another HBO show.
Obviously.
Yeah, because listen, okay, I love this show. I was a fan from day one, but I think like everyone else, not just for the finale, but the last season kind of pissed me off because I was getting hyped every week, and then I was always disappointed.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm getting rid of Game of Thrones. I loved it. Honestly, it's my celebrity crush, Emilia Clarke, I found her. But I don't know. Otherwise, it was like it had a nice peak at the beginning, and then it just went down. Peter Dinklage is the only good part of it, honestly, to me. And everything else, I just felt like I couldn't really have not given a shit about after a certain point. Like it was almost irredeemable. And the last season kind of put the nail in the coffin for me.
Okay.
I would still watch it again, but I would still watch it again at least. But I'm happy if it had never existed either. So.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. We're going to sandwich the two positives here, or the two negatives, I should say. So, KD, was this your number 3?
Absolutely. This was, Game of Thrones was my number 3.
Absolutely.
I like it.
And I mean, it was kind of tough to decide whether or not that was going to be my 2 one out. That last season, man, it was a train wreck, and I'm sad to say, like, it almost diminishes all the greatness that came before that. Like that, it was bad.
It was. I agree. It was Vaughn.
Wait. One last thing though. I have to give him credit though, because we got what we wanted in that, that final great battle with the White Walkers and everything. I'm not going to sleep on that. That was good. We was waiting on it. You know what I mean? I just wasn't expecting the Michael Jordan move at the end. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
It was too dark. I couldn't see anything.
So Caleb, you have some thoughts. I'll get to you then, Vaughn. But
I was dropping the dagger like Arya.
Oh, shit. I thought you really wanted to talk. Go. It's on you. Do you have any thoughts, Caleb? Was this your 3?
No, it wasn't my number 3. You want my number 3?
No, just I
okay,
guess
yeah.
you and Vaughn can tell me where you disagree.
Okay. I think Game of Thrones for 6 seasons was the greatest thing to happen in our culture. For that entire time, those 6 seasons, everybody followed it religiously. It changed our lexicon. It deserves better than to be erased, because the last 2 seasons weren't that great. The journey is still beautiful. Those 6 seasons are still there and are amazing, and I watched them way before a few of these shows.
Yep, fair enough. All right, Vaughn, I'm gonna have you hang on to your Game of Thrones thoughts until it's in your rankings, actually, because you're gonna give me your number 3 right now. So I want you to kind of sit it on the kettle, let it steam a little bit more, get real hot with it. Give me your number 3.
All right, my number 3. This show is The Wire. Compared. I'm not taking anything away from it. It's a good show. But compared to the other ones I have left, it doesn't measure up. So it was an easy choice for me.
Science fiction fan anyway.
Yeah, it's an easy choice. They had good characters, good stories, but it doesn't hit me like a couple of other ones.
Yeah, that's all right. You ain't from the streets.
Man. About Omar, man. Come on.
And no one had that as their number 3, I take it, other than Vaughn.
No, I had it as my number 3.
All right, we got 2 with their number 3. Wow. I'll go ahead, Caleb, then Brian. You can finish this out, and then we'll go into our end of our number 3. So, any thoughts on The Wire? Just really quick. If not, we can move on.
No, I think it was really. I liked some of the episodes. I just think it was really overrated for what people were saying about it, about how it was one of the greatest. I tried watching it. To be honest with you, I was kind of bored with it. I kept hearing about how Omar was this great character, one of the greatest TV characters of all time, and I love the guy who plays him. But to me, I was still waiting for to be proven why he was one of the greatest characters ever, and it never got there for me. So I think that, and again, a lot of the episodes, to me, it was just kind of boring. So that's why I had him there.
Whew. Wow, man, calling the Wire. Yeah, I agree with the Rue in the comments here. Calling the Wire boring is borderline blasphemy. I will save the rest of my thoughts for that. Any last thoughts on The Wire from you, Caleb?
Yeah, I'll say what I've seen of The Wire I've enjoyed, but this is literally just because I haven't seen all of it, so I couldn't justify putting it any higher.
Okay.
What I saw, I really enjoyed.
You're a little frozen up here, or you're praying. But either way, you go ahead and tag yourself out, tag yourself back in. We're going to head to the end of the round.
Right. He praying that Omar don't find him. That's what that is.
All right. With a shotgun.
So we're going to head to the end of round 3. And with our number 3 picks, we have most of us not being crazy and going with The Wire. But 2, 3 of us went with The Wire. While the other 3 saints of us went with Game of Thrones, which for the right reasons we went with that. Wire, I'll get into it when we're talking about our later picks here, but Wire doesn't have a Game of Thrones season 8. I'll just say that. There's not anything like that in The Wire. And so, yeah, I don't. So, so I don't know what that number means up there. Those are the stays right now. Okay, so Breaking Bad has been untouched so far, while Sopranos, Game of Thrones, and Wire have both been hit, and both don't have it. Only 2 of these, maybe are going to get a shot at the number 1, but we'll see. So I think we're ready for for our number 2 pick. So just we're going into final picks. Number 1. So number 1. This is my first time hosting, so I'm learning on the fly too. So we're going into our number 1 picks. Am I just going to choose who starts, or do you want to choose the person who I'm talking to in my head, who is not rating anything? So okay, I'll go ahead and let's go with Brian. Have you led off? No. Have you?
Yeah, I did. I started with number 4.
Vaughn, give me your number 1.
All right, my number 1, and let me unveil this. I've been saving it.
Oh, here we go.
Reveal.
Big reveal.
That's not Maryland.
It's a map of Westeros, but my number 1's easily Game of Thrones. Easily.
Surprise.
Cheers. And I will say, I mean, it's definitely the most rich story out of all of these. Like there's no comparison. No matter what you like, no matter what your opinion is, this is the richest story. It has the most depth. It has the best characters, the most memorable characters. The action sequences are A1. Like there's nothing bad you can say about Game of Thrones. The final season might not have been, up here, but if you're a true fan, then you're a true fan.
It's a true argument every time. It's a true fan argument.
If you're a true fan,
because for one, maybe my beautiful internet connection here in Washington D.C. is off, but I think you said final season. You mean seasons, right? With an S. Because they dragged that shit and it got worse and worse as it went. It fell down. It fell down the stairs.
No.
Man, they threw that shit through the moon door.
The Banner of Winter was a really good episode.
No. I will say that the final battle with the White Walkers, that probably was the most fun one to watch, but the most satisfying one had to be the Battle of Winterfell. Just with Jon Snow, with his excuse me for those of you that haven't seen it, but with Jon Snow.
All the shows here at our number 1. So you can't talk passion without talking the full show. So spoiler alerts, everybody out there.
Yeah, sorry if you guys haven't seen it, but just that moment at the end when he's just like pounding Ramsay, that was like beautiful, man. Like that just.
Whoa, that sounds wrong. He's pounding Ramsay.
Yeah, beating him with his fist, man. But yeah, like I mean, just that show, man. It's God's gift to the world,
Wow.
God's gift to the world.
Okay.
Tell us how you really feel, though.
Yes, God's gift to the world.
It was for a moment, and then God taketh away as God giveth.
Yes.
So I've been talking a lot. Brian, what are your thoughts on the final few seasons of a formerly great show that was Game of Thrones? So can I speak for everybody? We all loved it at one point, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh no,
Yeah.
I love the show. Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
then it hurt us.
I mean,
It
minus
fucking hurt us. It changed.
It just, I don't understand the point of making us invest in these characters the way they did. Like with the Red Wedding, it's like, okay, I understand that's a big plot twist and oh wow, I didn't see that coming and everything. But then it sets you up for Dany to come in with her dragons and take back what was wrongfully taken with her, and then they kill one of the damn dragons and turn it into a White Walker. Like, come on, like it's just. Again, it was like Stephen King was writing this crap, man. It just, you knew it was going to have a bad ending. You weren't going to be happy with it. Nothing that was supposed to be paid off got paid off. They gave the crown to the kid who didn't do anything. He just sat there in his damn chair and flew around with ravens.
You like
Brian's winning this show right now. Brian's
never
winning.
explained why he flew away with the bird.
I like how he was sitting knowing that. He was like, yeah, I'm gonna be king. Right.
Bran deserved that crown. Bran deserved it.
He
We're
didn't.
doing what? Just
Bran
sitting in a
deserved
chair,
it.
making predictions?
Right.
Yeah,
He
He had Google. He had Google, so he deserved to be king.
he deserved to be the king.
For creeping
He
on his
was, he's
brother.
a cripple. He's a
Creeping on his
cripple. He
brother,
traveled
having sex with
beyond the
his
wall.
in Ohio State every year.
Nobody else has traveled beyond the wall and succeeded. He was a
First of all,
cripple.
he would not have
was then pulled by a
survived.
giant.
He would not have survived on his own. The people that got his ass back to the damn castle were the ones that should be running the
Thank
fucking
you.
show. Not
He
that
saved
one.
him. He
We
saved
got
he was
Hodor,
a
man.
ward.
Hodor, man. If it
Hodor,
was
Yes.
Hodor, he would have died.
Hodor was useless without Bran taking over his body.
This
Oh
no
my God.
wilding right now.
And don't
Dude,
give me
it's
that
like
shit over
Twitch
the
it.
wolves.
Game of Thrones is
He
Disrespect.
would have been dead in the north right
Disrespect.
now. Okay,
Hodor
it
was
wasn't for Hodor.
useless. Hodor was useless without
Can I
Bran.
say? Can I say something in defense of this show right now? This emotion that's created, no other show on this list has done. But it's a fucking sense of betrayal. It's a sense of a show we once like. It created the internet kind of fandom. It created like a huge amount of YouTubers. You ever go through your YouTube subscriptions and look at the old Game of Thrones theory people who you're subscribed to?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Dude, it's so. Remember those days where you
I don't know,
waited
don't do that to
Monday morning for like the 20 YouTube videos to break down every, and then as the seasons went, you're like, oh, I don't need these anymore because they don't care. They didn't care. They had the money, they had the flash, but they didn't have the heart. They didn't have the emotional resonancy. It felt.
Disagree.
It was such. It just. Well, I'm an emotional guy, and it didn't feel emotional to me. The ice dance battle or whatever that was like, it's just it. I enjoyed the journey. So when people are like, "Would you want 2 seasons of them traveling up to the wall?" Yes, I would. I would have liked that. I liked season 2. I liked the slower pace and the quicker pace earned when it was earned. So.
Right.
There was so many emotional moments beyond that, like after season 6, after the book.
Can't think of any.
So you got the moment when John killed when he stabbed Dany, he's crying. That was powerful.
I actually laughed when it happened.
Yeah.
I mean, we all kind of saw that coming at that point.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
was like, really?
but it was still emotional. It was
Was
still
the turn in the final hour justified by Dany? Was that set up to you?
wait, say that again?
When Dany decided to let the bells toll,
Uh-huh.
was that justified to you, or was that just the writers trying to play with their dick and helicopter it?
It was justified. It was justified.
Helicopter.
I think it was justified because of everything that she had been put through, up until that moment. Like her
But they
best
didn't set
friend
it
was
up with her character.
beheaded. Huh?
They didn't set up with her character. That wasn't who her character was.
Nope.
It was in her blood. She's a Targaryen. Like they're known to go mad.
That is a
They're known to go mad.
That's a cop out, man.
No, like and it's
you can't spend 6 seasons building up this character who's like coming off like a revolutionary, only to just drop the ball in the last season where she just turns into this dictator.
She sold plenty hits of madness throughout the show. Like when she was in over in Marine, she's like hanging the slave
Oh,
masters.
don't bring up Marine, but
She's
don't bring
hanging
up
the slave
Bring up
masters.
sand snakes. Don't bring up all that now. We don't need to talk about sand snakes too.
I'm giving examples of how she displayed her mentality like throughout the show. It was little subtle hints, little subtle clues, but there were absolutely displays of her brutality and her instability throughout
That's
the show.
good. There were some displays. I just don't.
Yeah, but when you consider what she's been through, who wouldn't get a little pissed off and crazy sometimes?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Their level, though.
But you don't take those experiences and then put those right back on innocent people at the end. Like again, you had all these people following you because you were like, hey, I went through some fucked up shit too. Y'all went through some fucked up shit. Let's go and fuck some shit up together.
Yeah.
Instead, what do? You go over there and you have you burning down the whole fucking castle. You could have unified everybody like you said you were going to. Instead, you dropped the ball at the end.
No, I feel like she did what she should have.
Or is that him attacking it? I'm not really sure.
It just didn't make sense to me. I just didn't understand. Like what? It just didn't make sense.
Yeah, it still doesn't make sense. It just Ru, do you have any thoughts on Game of Thrones before we take the dogs off this poor show?
Look, man, I'm just here to try to continue and fill some space since Caleb had to go to the chat.
Okay. I just want to jump in and get on this beating right now.
Out of my two shows that I can actually talk on, Game of Thrones is not number one.
That's such a
go ahead, y'all. Brian, talk about why you have Sopranos. Y'all talk about Breaking Bad. KB, tell me why you're on The Wire. And Vaughn, you can keep trying to convince us. It's up to you.
Yeah, so let's head over to The Wire real quick. Was The Wire anybody's number one?
Okay, so The Wire was my number one.
Okay, go ahead and give me your...
It was really a toss-up between that and Breaking Bad for me.
Okay.
And it was really hard, but I feel like I leaned more towards The Wire because I thought it was more realistic. And I kind of connected with it a bit more than I did with Breaking Bad.
Okay.
Breaking Bad was a great show. Although there was a lot of things that happened in it that, let's be honest, they weren't really realistic for a show that's supposed to kind of
be grounded.
Yeah, to be grounded.
Cheated its universe a few times in the show.
Right. I mean, biggest example I can give is the machine gun popping out the trunk at the like. Come on,
that alone is enough.
Come on. I mean,
sometimes you have to suspend belief.
Now, see, that was my issue with Breaking Bad, right? Because you have this guy who you're building him up to be the genius, right? And so he should have been way more of a badass all those seasons than he was made to be. I mean,
character development.
So,
what kind of MacGyver shit you pull at the end? You couldn't have did this the whole time.
Yeah. So, KB, The Wire was my number two. I absolutely agree with you on this, though. This is why this was really, really tough for me, is that Breaking Bad nailed it until I hated, with a capital H, hated the series finale. Hated everything about it. Because this show was not about Walter White getting what he wanted, which was death. He got out of this easy at the end. He got shot in the gut and died. That's exactly what he wanted. What he didn't want was his name and his family ruined, was his reputation ruined, was to have to live. The whole shit he wanted from the beginning was to die. He wanted the cancer to take him, and then he wanted this world to take him. And the world did take him. Walter White got a complete happy ending, and that completely went against every moral fiber of this show, and it killed me, and it almost caused me to drop Breaking Bad out of my one. But the rest of the show is so perfect. The characters are so great. The way that it organically came together with how Jesse Pinkman was originally supposed to be one-off, and they're like, hold on, we need to adjust it here. Like, how many people would really think a character like Jesse would be that vital to the show? And he was incredible. So, but that series finale botched the entire message of the show, and then ends with just like a big machine gun pop. Like, what are we doing?
And the movie that followed that was even worse. I'm sorry.
I like that.
It was not what I expected, man. It was really.
It hurt me, and the biggest problem I had with it really was that it was a happy ending for Walter White.
All right, let me know when it's my turn, because
y'all, I got those names down there for y'all to free for all. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, everybody. I do have it as my one still, but I'll be honest.
The reason I had a wardrobe change because this is my favorite show. This is the show that's gonna stay. First of all, out of all these 4 shows, this is the only one that was on a network show. It didn't have the ability to like be R-rated.
Great point.
Curse, you couldn't like be have nudity and all that stuff. I'm actually stealing that from my brother because I that logic. So you think about it, you have all these 3 HBO shows that had the budget and the ability to do whatever they wanted, but yet it was really this show that's possibly considered the greatest show of all time. And I disagree about the finale, but all the other seasons were perfect. Yes. Everything was always up as far as every season. The only complaint maybe I have was like when I first got into it, I did say the first season was kind of slow. Luckily, it only had 7 episodes to work with, and then every season just got better and better. It's also the only one to have a spin-off that's just as great, if not even better. I don't know if you guys feel about Better Call Saul, but that is amazing. And it also got a Netflix film. But Game of Thrones might have a spinoff. The Wire never got anything else after that, and Sopranos get a movie also. But think about it, Breaking Bad has been maybe more recent, and also they already got like 2 other sort of franchises or like 2 other shows, like a movie and a show off of that like universe that Vince Gilligan did. I think Vince Gilligan is like the Christopher Nolan of TV. Everything was freaking written so perfectly. Me and my brothers always talk about this. Everything was just so connected. As long as you paid attention, you could be like, "Damn, this reminded me of what he said or what happened in season 1 and season 2." This connected to that. If you didn't pay attention, you wouldn't see how just freaking awesome and just how good the writing had to be to have everything connect and have like no loose ends. The ending, okay, if you want to consider that a happy ending, I guess because he rescued Jesse and he ended up getting what he wanted, which is to live, and maybe he ends up giving the money to his kids. But it's still kind of messed up how it all happened. He didn't plan for it to happen. That's why I don't really consider it that much of a happy ending. The only happy ending is really for Jesse. But Walter ended up dying. He didn't really get this. I don't know. I think it's sad just because he didn't get to see his. That
was his fault. That was his fault for leaving the book around, dumbass.
Yeah. That too, yeah. Okay, fine. That's the only little thing. I'm like, dude, that speaks to his ego. That speaks to his ego. He fucking did not want to get rid of the book because that was just a reminder of how he like outsmarted everybody. How he freaking got this guy killed. He got Gale. Everything was just perfectly set up, and every
him getting to choose
their character,
including him getting to choose when he died. That's the only part that just doesn't work with the rest of the show. That was such a poorly written finale, and maybe because it's such a greatly written show, it's like impossible to finish it. I guess
I do admit the ricochet was like a little bit too convenient.
Come on,
I do kind of wish
Game of Thrones finale was the worst written one.
I had so and now I'll get to you, Vaughn. For the longest time with this show, when El Camino was announced, I'm like, oh, they're finally going to admit that Walter White made it through. It was a gut shot. He didn't die, and he has to go to trial. And like that's why Better Call Saul, like season 6 is going to be him having to defend. Like, but nope, he died. Fucking lame.
Man, all right.
Hey, I agree with you there. Like, if Breaking Bad was on HBO, it'd probably be the second greatest show of all time. It was great. It was satisfying, man. Like I enjoyed that was my number 2. I enjoyed every aspect of that show. Every aspect. I'm glad you guys mentioned Better Call Saul. I'm going to check that. I haven't seen any.
Oh my god!
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Hell yeah!
It's slow, but it's dope.
Yeah.
I didn't really think it's as slow as Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad was slow in season 1, but Better Call Saul season 1, if you kind of listen to the whole thing with the brother, then yeah, it takes.
I think another underrated. Sorry, who's gone?
Oh, go ahead.
El Camino was horrible, by the way.
No, it was fine. It was fine.
It was fine. It was fine. It should have been better.
I expected a lot more from El Camino. I expected so much more from that.
Well, that's
the one thing.
Expectations will kill it.
Yeah,
the one thing I did love about Breaking Bad so much, which is why it was my number 2, was the complete transformation of characters of Jesse and Walter did. In the beginning, Walter was this innocent, straight by the book, Dudley Do-Right guy who was a high school science teacher who had a wife and a kid and another kid on the way, and he was just trying to get by. Then all of a sudden, one day, he collapses and finds out he's got stage 4 lung cancer, and he became desperate. And even in the early episodes, like he was like thinking to himself, like, this life might not be for me, but he knew what the end game was to set up his family financially. And then Jesse was this high school meth head burnout who, like, you didn't really feel sorry for in the first early seasons. And then towards the end of the show, you empathize with Jesse so much. And he went from being a complete piece of shit to this actually hopefully going to be a stand-up citizen. And Walter went from this, like, he's like the product of his environment and everything into a complete drug dealing piece of shit. It totally flipped like yin and yang. And it was beautifully written and beautifully done and well acted. I mean, when you talk about the character of Walter White, Heisenberg, I mean, that's like top 3 TV characters of all time, maybe even top 2. but just the way the show was written and that transformation of Walter and Jesse is what I love so much about it.
I fucking hated Jesse. Once he snitched on Walter, I was like, I fucking hate you, Jesse. I hate you, Jesse. Like, he ruined it for me, man.
It was revenge. It was revenge.
It was revenge, but I mean, he could, like, things would have went so differently if he didn't, like.
It was too easy if he just killed him. It was too easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I can't believe someone wrote in the comments that said it's the same old drug story. I was like, listen, I think it was one of the
Lisa, our girl Lisa.
Right. All right. So homegirl says, how is that? That's the most original concept I could have thought of in a while. I don't know.
Right.
I wasn't thinking of it. My brother was like, "Oh, check this out," and then it was probably 3 years after it started. But then I got into it. I really don't see how it's totally original.
Yeah, she said the movie was the worst. Has she not seen Cloverfield Paradox? Because we can talk about wars in movies, girl.
What a piece of shit that was.
Oh man,
I'm kind of curious.
Talk about disappointment. Sorry,
I'm kind of curious to hear Brian's take on his number one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, I kind of alluded to it early in the beginning. I grew up around that kind of a family, not a mafia family. Nobody knows the mafia or any of that bullshit. But I mean, just again, I know a Janice, I know a Meadow, I know a Tony, I know an AJ, I know they act like, I mean, they were, that's one reason why like Italian defense leagues wanted it taken off the air, not because it was offensive, because they got it right. Okay, that's how these people act. Trust me, on Sunday dinner and all that crap, there's arguments about politics and sports and just these asinine conversations I was subjected to throughout, growing up in high school and everything. But I mean, it was also beautifully written too. I want to say there was a lot of great episodes that were written about it. And I think they tried to humanize Tony so much. And there were episodes where you did feel sorry for the guy, but in the end, and plus what he would do to people who he like quote unquote loved and everything, it was his evilness. Deep down, like they tried making him like a good person, but he really wasn't. Like the episode where he made Bobby Bacala, his son-in-law, go and kill that guy. It was the first time Bobby ever killed somebody, and Bobby only did it because he was thinking of his family. But at the end of the day, Tony made him do that. Tony turned him into this complete bad person. And at the end, in one of the finale episodes, Bobby ends up getting killed just because he's related to Tony. It had nothing to do with Bobby as a person. Just because he married into the family, he ended up getting murdered. And they all it showed you that they all just had their own agenda. Every character in that show just had their own agenda. And it did not make you think that life that Tony was living was fantastic. It wasn't like a Goodfellas or a Casino where like, yeah, that had bad endings. But in the early stages of those movies and in the show, it's like, wow, this guy's a mob boss. He's got all this money. He's banging random hookers all the time. He's doing blow with his nephew's fiance. Look, he's living a great life.
He's got a therapist. He's got therapist. That therapist angle is he was
a depressed sociopath that just was a black cloud and engulfed everything around him, friends, family, doesn't matter, into his blackness. And it was beautifully written. And he got killed in the finale, by the way. Just we can put that in.
100%.
Members only. Members only.
And see, that's why I think that's where we kind of have something in common there, Brian, because like how you were able to relate to a lot of the characters in Sopranos, I could relate to a lot of the characters in The Wire.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I'm not saying that. I wouldn't say anyway whether I did or not. But I'm familiar with that environment, and that show for me was grounded in so much realness and reality. It really and it touched on a lot of stuff. From the drug dealing and stuff going on in the ghettos, all the way up to like the political bullshit that goes on till this very day, and that affects everybody from top to bottom. A lot of the one of the main standout characters for me was Jimmy or James, that crooked ass cop.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I hated that character, the actor, I believe his name was Dominic West.
Yeah.
That's what I like about like a real actor is somebody that can really make me either really love them or really hate them. And he was one of those characters that really, really made me despise him. Even though I understood he was trying to do a job and he was, given the circumstances, like he could only do but so much, and he had to kind of bend the rules a bit to make things happen. But it's like that was a show where it's like it made you see other people's perspectives Even if you didn't really like those characters, you know what I mean? And that's why that show really got to me. Omar, of course, one of the fan favorites of that show. I mean, who doesn't like a badass?
Who doesn't love Scoop?
Right. I just hated how they did him though, but at the same time, it was like, you know what? It be like that. You would put somebody on this high pedestal as this, this no nonsense, not to be fucked with person, and he could just go out just like that unexpectedly. And
the thing about both shows is I think they use actual people from the communities to act. Both of these shows, and I think it's perfect that both these guys are on the show. This is one of the reasons, Ru, that your show is really dope. Is that this connects people in a way that is organic, it's genuine, and like during a time, no matter what time we're talking about this, but particularly during a time like this where it's on all of our minds a little bit more. Maybe I'm speaking for myself. Like to hear two people talk about how a show connected with them from such different communities, like and be able to connect to and be like, yeah, like that's the reason why neither one of those were my one, because I didn't have that sort of connection. Maybe that's why it wasn't my one. But like I understand what you're saying, and they're able to ingratiate me. Both these shows were able to ingratiate me in their world enough for me to understand the characters. So I can only imagine if I had more of the background to like those roots. It's real. That's what these shows. You commit almost 100 hours to each of these shows.
Vaughn, how do you connect with dragons in Khaleesi?
Yeah. He wants to ban Khaleesi and ride the dragon.
Drew's got all this Helsing segue energy built up, so he just delivered the whammy.
Sorry.
That's a good question. I was actually going to answer that. I was going to piggyback off KB. Man, when I was a kid, I used to just read all the time, and I used to enjoy fantasy, adventure, quests, those type of books, and it just carried over into adulthood. So I feel like the stuff, like the gritty gangster mafia stuff that you see on TV all the time, like I enjoy watching it, but it doesn't like take me to other places, like stuff like Game of Thrones does. So, I could like sit and talk and read and discuss Game of Thrones all day, and wouldn't even, blink twice about it. It's just, I just enjoyed the story, man. Like, and it just has so much history. Like, I mean, the book doesn't, the show doesn't even do it justice. So there's so much stuff in the books that it leaves out. It's crazy, man. Like,
yeah, if we're talking about the overall series and being able to throw in the books and everything, I'm moving it up on my list. But unfortunately, this is television shows. Anybody have any final thoughts here before we wrap up this phenomenal and go over the final four here?
Yeah, I will say Game of Thrones is the greatest show ever.
Of course.
If you're not a Game of Thrones fan, then yeah, I don't know what to say. Get into it, man.
I will say there's a reason why I got the shirt. I met Giancarlo Esposito, TV villain also all time. And I will be honest, like before Breaking Bad, Dexter was like my favorite show, and obviously I know it's a shitty show. But Breaking Bad was the show to really make me want to be a writer. I do want to be. I do want to be like a screenwriter. And like Vince, if I could write like Vince Gilligan, I would love it. But to be able to like have that many, just be that like have this awesome blueprint for how everything was laid out, and be able to make people. At least I always went like oh shit so many times. So I'm sure a lot of people also have like those oh shit moments throughout the series. But like that's what I wanted to do once I saw all of it. I was like just those really cool moments that are also like. Not too like you have to like suspend belief, but it can also just be so realistic because he was a genius, but he took things that you could actually take in real life and like actually do shit with it. So just stuff like that, like you could just grounded it in reality, but still make it just so cool to like look at and like admire. So that's the show that really made me almost have like an understanding of what I want my career to be. I want to be able to write something like that hopefully one day.
I will say too that the fact that like all of these finales from all these shows are like universally either hated or just didn't live up to what people wanted them to be shows you how much they connected connected with people and how much they love them. And it's like, when you love something so much, and it, obviously these shows have to end, except like maybe The Walking Dead. I don't think that show's ever going to end. But I mean, people. Why were people so pissed off with the Game of Thrones finale and with the Sopranos finale and with Breaking Bad? It's like everybody had a premonition of like how they wanted that show to end, and also it's because they didn't want them to end. Like, they didn't want Game of Thrones to end. They didn't want Breaking Bad to end. We didn't want The Sopranos to end. We didn't want The Wire to end. But if it had to, everybody wanted it to fit their narrative, which unfortunately you can't do. But just the fact that I don't really know a lot of people that love any of those episodes that watch that show. It just shows you how much it connected with people and how well universally loved all these shows were.
Yeah, I just think it's funny that out of all of these shows, Devon's pick is the only one that isn't really grounded in any form of reality.
Beautiful. I mean, when it felt like it was almost grounded in reality was when it was at its best, though. Like,
right,
it those moments when it felt like it was a real world, and then when it didn't feel like that, it was like, wait, like that's not what I liked about the show. That's not what I liked about the show. Like, so I don't know. It's tough. Like, it's cool hearing how all these shows like kind of emotionally connect to us, though. It's impossible for it not to. Like, if you're not emotionally connected to a show, let it go. Like, you're wasting your time with it. Like with epic shows like this, or like with like really intense shows like this, in my opinion. So,
KB, any last thoughts, real quick?
Yeah. No, not really.
Yeah, we got all our emotions out. This therapy session was great. So, we get to the finals here, and we've got Devon. I think he picked Game of Thrones 1. I'm not sure if he likes it or not. Didn't make it clear enough to me, but he likes it a little bit, and could definitely relate to all the characters, obviously, and the problems. So, Breaking Bad, the relatable show for Antonio. Caleb, I know, did love it. He couldn't be here towards the end, but I know he would have been able. We tried to represent for Breaking Bad, so we hope we did for you, Caleb. The Wire to KB, definitely respectable, and then The Sopranos to Brian. All these, I think everybody pretty much completely justified their picks. We take a look, and So, any thoughts as we look at kind of the final lists here?
Yo,
why is the Y in black, bro?
I mean, why would you?
Because it's dead.
I had to put it in black. You know I had to put it in black. I'm trying to connect every single color, and I'm like, there's no way The Wire is not black. So, I mean.
I will add, I first got into Game of Thrones in the summer of 2015. I was working at a summer camp, and I just started. I had some downtime. I was watching it, and I was watching it every day. And then I got caught by my supervisor, and she's like, so are you gonna watch Game of Thrones, or are you gonna watch these kids? And I was
you chose Game of Thrones.
Make them watch it. Make them watch Game of Thrones.
Yeah. This was this was I had a great time. Hopefully, I feel like I got my wheels a little bit underneath me as we went there. At first, I was like, it's gonna be easy to host, and then I got a little bit in there. I was like, oh man, I'm naked in front of all these people, and I don't know who do I say. But Ru, thank you for having me on as always. Hope I did the show a little bit of justice, and everybody, you guys did great with your arguments. Like, I mean, Brian is like a preacher when he starts talking, man. Like, he makes me want to change my opinions. Like, I
ain't gonna lie, damn, they had me change my mind a couple of times myself.
Yeah, man. Like, honestly, all of you really did argue. Like, and several times I was like, man, and it does justice to. I'm glad that with great shows we had great people on tonight, because it's important.
Aaron, man, I really appreciate you hosting for me. It gives me a chance to kind of test out. I'm trying to do it. I want to do it where I don't know the list beforehand, and I think I kind of have it down how I can do that next time. Speaking of next time, unfortunately not going to what I usually do with the hint. I'm gonna have to throw a hint whenever I can, because I gotta go out of town next week. I don't know how long I'm gonna be out of town. I don't know how long I'm gonna be back. So I'm gonna wait till I'm back home in Charlotte before moving on to the next list. But when that happens, I will put another video up. You'll have a list first, and then I'll reveal everything. One thing about not Breaking Bad, The Wire, that I will say is that I wrote an essay in college on the motherfucker scene, where the whole scene was fuck. and I literally got a fucking A on that paper. And that right there, if I had to pick, makes it number 2, period, for me. So thank y'all for that scene.
That's a great argument. I guarantee that The Wire has the most success rate of any of these shows when you write college papers on it.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great argument.
But with that, Antonio, I didn't know if you had anything to plug, but you got anything to plug, and I will update the description if you do.
No, just find me in the fan leagues. If you want to find me on Twitter at NY_Nemesis92. I hope you guys are staying safe wherever you guys are. If you're going out of town, man, be safe. That's all I gotta say, man.
Yeah, man.
Like I said, stay tuned. Hopefully, I'm gonna start something on my own soon, and I could always use your help because you're gonna be fun on what I have. I'm still working out my little blueprint for my own shit, but I'm trying to see how it goes. And yeah, I'll definitely hit you up if I need some backup.
All right, man. All right. Woo. Hey, B, PodStu, put it out there. Let us know what it is. Let's go.
Yeah. So, you guys want to follow me? You can follow me on Instagram, KB_the_producer. I'm also host a podcast highlighting underground artists called Uncovered Music. You could also find us on Instagram, uncovered_music. Amaru's on there with me as well as my homegirls Elle and Keisha. Check it out, man.
Nice.
All right, Vaughn, you are doing amazing things for the kiddos as a PE teacher, one of the teachers of the year here in CMS. So let them know about the channel, fam.
Nice, man.
You can follow me on Instagram. Appreciate that. You can follow me on Instagram, Coach_Hammock. YouTube, I think it's the same thing. I'm not sure.
It's in the description below.
Yeah, check it out. I got activities for your kids. Chalk activities are more popular, but check it out.
Nice.
All right. Hey, Aaron, my step-in host, so I really appreciate what you got going on, man.
Yeah, so I've got actually quite a bit going on all of a sudden with this quarantine. My business is completely down. I run a dog walking and dog boarding business here in Washington, D.C. Completely down right now. So I've had a lot of time to watch a lot of television, a lot of movies, and a lot of UFC. So I have a full podcast I'd like to plug, if I may. One I just started with my brother. It's on the Netflix series Dark. If you haven't seen the Netflix series Dark, check this shit out. This is the show you flip your phone over and you watch. It's a German show. That's all I'm going to say. A lot of people describe it as German Stranger Things. It's much more than that, though. But watch it with subtitles. It's worth it. Flip the phones over and enjoy. Message me after you watch it and we can talk about it. But the name of my podcast is with my brother. It's called Digesting Dark. Currently, it's on Spotify. We're getting onto Apple Podcasts. We're also on Anchor. So it's called Digesting Dark, the unofficial Dark companion podcast. We're going through the whole first and second season before the third season premieres June 27th. Also, my UFC podcast is on Fight Bananas on YouTube, and that's Fight Bananas Take the Fruit. And we break down every UFC card every Wednesday night live on YouTube and live on Facebook. We go top to bottom on the cards. We break down the odds and give you our opinions. Went 10 for 11 last week, so check us out on there. And then, that's it. My Letterboxd is my life also. Thank you, Brooks, on Letterboxd. If you're on that beautiful website, it's a movie review website. Everybody should join it. It's free to join. Letterboxd with a D at the end. That's it.
And Brian, I know you still having some trouble not being able to wrestle, but let everybody know what you got going on, man.
Yeah, like you said, Rue, unfortunately, wrestling's been on hold ever since this quarantine happened. But once that gets going again, I'll be posting where I'll be wrestling in state, in Ohio, here in Ohio. And again, I travel mostly in the southern and eastern United States. I may get down to your neck of the woods sometimes, Rue. So next time I do, we'll definitely let you know.
Yeah, man.
I know last time I was down here, I said I was going to put out a list on my Instagram and my Twitter of the 10 most underrated WrestleMania matches. And that's still a work in progress because there's just been literally thousands of matches throughout the entire history of WrestleMania. So it's taken me more time than I thought it would. But in the meantime, follow me on Instagram, the Brian Carson. Twitter is B the Excellence, B the word the, and then Excellence, all one word. And I hope, again, everyone's staying safe out there. And like Jackie Moon said, ELE. Everyone love everybody.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I'm gonna leave it off with Garth's very, very pointed comment. Well, gotta say, but I do gotta leave next week. With that, we all see y'all on the next one. Peace.